I was only 5 years old when I moved to New York. I've lived here for 10 years, and the best thing about living in the city is that you get to experience the points of view and diversity that everybody has to offer. My dad has always been a great example of a Boy Scout because even though he grew up in a completely different place than I did, he's kind of had some of the same situations I've had. I mean, of course, he's my father, so there's that special bond, father-son that I really enjoy. My first scout leader was the mother of one of the other scouts, and her name was Hannah Peralta. And she was great because she was really enthusiastic about scouts, and she likes funny things. So a lot of the things that we did were very funny, and it put a good laugh in all of us. And I really enjoyed that. That's one of the highlights about being a Cub Scout. Bring back my body to me. I was in a Pinewood Derby race. And that was fun because I got to build my own car out of a block of wood. And I got to paint it and design it and customize it, and it was tons of fun. We would have a big race and try to determine who built the better car. They had big trophies that they gave out at the end. I was never first place, but it was still a heck of a lot of fun to do. With the kids in my school, when I said I was a Boy Scout, they're like, "Oh, so you go sell cookies or whatever?" And I'm like, no, that's the Girl Scouts, It's something different, but it's kind of funny. And so basically I have to tell them, no, we go and we do different things called merit badges, and we work towards achieving these badges, and then towards the Eagle Scout, well, what's so great about getting a badge? And it's like, well, because when you get your Eagle Scout, it'll help you on your job application, then they'll be like, oh yeah, I understand. Scout camp is tons of fun because it's a time when you can check off all of those requirements of those merit badges that you've been meaning to get done for a while. One time I got 7 merit badges done in one scout camp, and being able to be there where all you're focusing on is merit badges and fun, kind of step out of what you're doing in the world and just going to a place where you work on scouting. My favorite memory in Scouts was a 50-mile hike I went on when I was 12 years old in Utah, and we hiked the Uinta Mountains, and it was my first high adventure trip. It was a very challenging experience physically. It was tough, and I also remember when I was finally finished, I felt very accomplished that I had walked 50 miles in the mountains. I remember used to thinking that I'd like to be a millionaire or something, but no, that doesn't always really matter anymore. It's mostly just about, how you are as a person. You can have all the money in the world, but it's really, if you're not a nice person, it doesn't really mean anything. Another person that has inspired me is probably my Scoutmaster brother, Sour. Part chef, he's opera singer, he good at shooting rifles, he's good at throwing knives, he's good at making knives, he's good at pretty much doing all those things that as a scout you want to do. So having him there is nice because as a Scoutmaster he understands what it takes to become a good scout, and he's also helped push everything, and he's made the really complicated things seem pretty simple. My Eagle Scout project was to build raised garden beds for my school in their community garden so they could grow plants and make food for the school. The place that I was going to build the beds was basically just an abandoned lot across the street from Columbia University. The lot had dead plants in it, and it had, rat poison signs. I was fortunate because my school gained access to it, and so they had a garden team, and they came in and cleared out a bunch of the plants and ugly things that were in there and planted a bunch of flowers, and they provided space for me to build the raised garden beds. First I staked out the area where the raised beds are going to be built, and I went there and got some stakes and twine and marked out the area where they were going to be built, and then with the help of the Columbia Secondary School garden class, they came in and they cleared out a bunch of the plants and stuff that were in the way of where the beds were staked out. And so then a week later I came in and got a bunch of volunteers and broke up the soil and built these frames for the beds, and then we stuck them in the ground, and then we also lined them with chicken wire and plastic that we poked holes through so the water could go through, because we couldn't use the soil from the actual ground because it was poisonous. It was lead poisoning. So we had a whole bunch of new soil, and we put that in, and by the time it was done, it looked fabulous, and the sun was shining, and it was pretty awesome. I hope that I'm a good example of what it is to be a Boy Scout, and I hope that I'm a good example of a young man that will follow the values and teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the Boy Scouts of America, so that other people can see that and think, well, he can do all of these things, maybe I could do them myself. And I want to spread those ideas so that people don't get caught in some of the potholes of life, and so that they can understand that following certain values and virtues that you can become a better person and have a better life.